All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this class. I'm so glad you're able to join us. So this is the first of the 4 video series that we are going to dive into the details, the step-by-step details on how I design, how I sketch, design, and ink, and finally color and shade a manga character of my own. Now, the manga character that you work on could be a character that you like a lot from an existing manga, or you could design your own manga character from the ground up. It's completely up to you. The process is the same. So I'm going to dive right in this first video, and basically going to begin to teach you how to set up the basic structure, the framework of designing a manga character. So here we go. A little introduction is that a lot of people, when it comes to when we come to designing or drawing manga characters, we tend a lot of the students that I've encountered tend to fall into the trap of designing, sketching the features that they like the most. So, for example, you've probably seen a lot of this. A lot of people, they start out with the eyes. It's so beautiful. It's so, a lot of young artists out there, they might be really good with sketching the eyes, and making sure they look exactly the way they want it. It's all glittery and just beautiful and whatnot. With the perfect lashes, everything perfect. So perfect. And yeah, all that. It's got that sparkle and everything. And most young artists focus on making really beautiful features like eyes, nose, and mouth and whatnot. But what they fail to realize is that designing a character or sketching or designing anything really it doesn't have that much to do with the features. It has a lot to do with the structure. So because most kids don't understand the underlying structure behind a character, so they end up having these really nicely drawn features, really nice eyes like this, whatnot. But because they don't know the structure and the proportion of everything, how they should go, so they end up with something that's a little bit strange like this. Yeah, and and they try to compensate it with a good looking nose. That's really pointed sideways. But hey, it looks nice. I wanted to use it on a frontal face. I want to draw a nice mouth. A nice open mouth like this because, actually, better yet, everybody's doing this mouth, and I really love it because it's just so anime, and then when we come to the the scalp and the head, the hair is basically an afterthought, and a lot of people, they dive into, wow, look at how I love the style of my hair. This bang, the way it comes down like this. I really want it to dangle. I want to make sure that everything is perfect and nothing. And then sometimes we get stuck with, oh, the hair is covering my eyes. I don't know what to do, and But everything just pans out to be, to look really, really nice. This is a really nice drawing. This is one of my, look at that. The shoulder is so smooth. I don't know. I feel like there's something missing though. I don't know what's going on, but okay, maybe it's the eyebrow. I just gotta give it the best eyebrow there is. I've seen a lot of anime, they have these really thick eyebrows. I just want to add them in like that. Pretty quickly you can see the problem here. Okay, is that it's not that these individual elements, the hair, the eyes, the mouth, in and of itself, it's not necessarily that these are badly drawn, poorly drawn, if you will. If you look at them closely by itself, you know, you can see that, wow, hey, this eye is actually pretty nice. Okay, if you look at that eye, sorry, it's a little bit burnt. But if you look at that eye, yeah, that's pretty nice sketch, actually. And just look at the individual elements like this. They're okay. They're not too bad. You know, the nose is pretty nicely drawn for a side view. You know, if and all that. What's wrong is that I focus on the feature, making them look perfect, but I have no clue as to the basic structure or the proportions that goes into designing a human face or a human body. So with that understanding, I wanted to dive into how I really would design a manga character from the ground up. So now I forgot to mention in this class, in the first class, I typically the supplies that you need are basically just an eraser and a pencil that's sharpened. Okay, then that's pretty much all you need. Well, if you have automatic pencils like this, there, you wouldn't have to worry about the sharpening. Okay, you can just move this away, which is totally cool. Either way is fine. But we're gonna dive into the structure of designing a manga character from the ground up. Okay, so the first step before I think about designing, really, I'm thinking about the styles, you know, the hairstyles, the clothings and the whatnot, the colors of my character. I really want to think about how to set up the structure beneath it. So the structure beneath it is something that I call a mannequin or a face mask. So before I design anything, I wanted to be able to sketch out a basic mannequin or a face mask for my character. So I start out with sketching a circle. Now, some of you are probably more sophisticated. You can sketch like this. You have a soft hand and everything. You sketch something like this, totally fine. If you're a little bit more of a, intermediate student and you're pretty good at sketching, but you're not comfortable yet making this really round, smooth circle, you can feel free to use this sketchy hatching technique and basically draw a little stroke, one little stroke at a time, and hopefully create this like circle like that. Okay. Now, for some of you who are underaged a little bit or just a beginner in drawing, your best circle could look something like this, like like that. And if that's where you're at, no worries, totally cool. The only thing I'm going to ask you guys is that when you sketch in any shape or form, I strongly encourage you to stay away from doing this. Some people, they do this. They take their pencils, and because they're so nervous and they're so like wanting to prove everything, so when they draw their circle, they're like, yeah, they stick it in like, yeah, I gotta carve that in, yeah, like that. You see that groove, right? That I just carved out. This is like that. It's like a valley that I created. Please avoid doing that at all cost. Please do not try not to dig in your pencils into the paper so much so that it becomes unerasable later. So even if your circle or your drawing turned out to look pretty accurate or pretty nice, this is a horrible way of drawing. If you practice drawing like this, like digging it in and just being super perfect about it, I'm going to guarantee you over time your drawing skills are going to become worse the more you practice like this. On the flip side, if you practice more and more of like making rough sketches, making a lot of mistakes, maybe I'm a little bit lopsided. It's okay. I'm just gonna draw over it, try to correct it. Maybe I'm making a little bit too squarish. No worries. I draw over it. I don't use my erasers, all that all that excessively. I try to stay away from erasing all the time. That's another mistake I want to I want to stay away from. Is a lot of people, they just we are so perfectionistic about things. We're like, oh, this is not right. Okay, erase. Oh no, erase. Oh no, erase. We try to stay away from that. So be as rough as you can. The only thing I really hope you could achieve is that by the end of the day, your circle looks somewhat like a circle. Try not to have like a piece of rock, or like an egg like this, or like a square, And if you start with that, no worries. But do try to make some adjustments to try to make it more. Trying to make it more like a circle, okay? So that's the first and foremost, I guess, lesson that I wanted to really share with you guys on drawing this simple circle. There's so much that goes into it. So anyways, once I have the circle, I'm going to sketch a horizontal line like this and a vertical line. I try to make sure that my verticals are truly vertical. They are basically parallel with a paper. If you're a little bit of a perfectionist like me, I would try to line the angle of these lines up with the edge of the paper. So this side, I try to make it look parallel to that side. Of course, you can't make it perfect, so so just do your best. So once you have that crosshair set up, this is basically the center line of your character later on. And where this line is, this is where the eyebrows are going to be. So I'm going to write down brow. This is going to be the brow line later. Okay. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down from the brow line where they intersect. I'm going to drop down a cheek and a jaw. Now notice this is where the sides of the face are formed. Now a lot of people, they do this. I really hope you could avoid making this mistake. A lot of people just go like, oh, I just want to simplify it and just make it one curve like that. The problem with doing that is because a lot of us we don't yet have a good motor control of our fingers. So a lot of times when we try to do this, we end up actually drawing something more like bulgy, like that, like yeah. That looks a little bit strange, to be honest. And some people, they go even as far as like, oh, I want my face to look super special. So yeah, I want to see that's my character's face because he's just super special like that. The key to drawing a good manga character is that while it looks, very anime, very like, just very imaginative, a good manga drawing actually adheres to a very specific set of rules. Okay, so in a good manga drawing, you'll never see a face that looks like this because this is not realistic. Okay, good mangas are based somewhat on reality, and what I'm actually teaching you guys is actually a little piece of that reality. How do you illustrate something in real life, but simplified? Okay, so what I sketch on the left, so I break it up into two sides. So there's the cheek side and the jaw side, like this. The cheek side and the jaw. I try to make them look like mirrored across each other, so hopefully they look the same-ish on left and right. Okay. A little more information is that if you want a much younger character, then your jaw is going to be super high, like this. Like it's almost close to your cranium. This circle is the cranium. I'm going to write this down. Yeah, basically the brain part of your head. Okay, so if you want a super young character, then you could cut the chin very high like this. If you want an older character, or generally speaking, you're going to have very long faces like this. Okay. Typically, old characters, dominant characters, tend to look like that. If you want a villain character, they tend to have very high, very short cheeks on the side, but very long, very triangular kind of a face like that. So that's more of a villain-ish character. So for now, also by the way, if you want a more feminine character, then your cheek and jaw are going to be definitely more smooth and rounded like this. So this is probably why some people think, okay, I just wanted to have this like one curve. And I guess in the end, sometimes you do end up with this one curve. But I always, my thinking is always thinking like I start out with two lines like this, and then I round it off later. So that's just my pet peeve. It helped me a lot avoiding mistakes like this, like that, or like, try to stay away from that. We want to design humans. Okay, so anyways, once I have the cheek and the jaw, actually I'm gonna do some erasing. I'm gonna make a very young character like this. I'm going to capture what we call the eyeline. Now the eyeline is a little bit tricky. So the eyeline is, technically speaking, it's a midpoint between the scalp and the chin. So with such a young character like this, a midpoint between these two, they're very close to the brow line. Okay, so something like this. But when you have characters with longer cheeks, deeper chins, if you will, that midpoint between the chin and the scalp would be a little bit more like here. Okay, so it depends on your character. This eyeline really moves up or down depending on how large your character's face, how long they are, how tall they are. Okay, so I'm going to change my mind a little bit. I'm sorry, and I'm going to instead use a more feminine but kind of adult kind of a head, so that you'll be able to see the eye line a little bit more clear. Eye line. Okay. Now the eye line, again, midpoint between scalp and chin. Scalp. Chin. So the eye line is extremely important. If we mess this up, we mess up everything else. If we do this well, then chances are your drawing is gonna look quite nice. Okay, so the eye lines are super important. We don't want them to be too high. We don't want it to be too low. If we're too high, later on our eyes go with it, and our eyes goes high, and then you're gonna have like a chimpanzee kind of a situation, like this. We want to avoid that at all cost. Okay, so our eye lines are super important, because on the eye line hinges three different things that are very crucial. So the first is the beginning of your character's hairline. So hairline looks something like this. Every person that I know of has a hairline. Yes, even bald people has a hairline. So for people who are unfortunately bald and lost their hair, thankfully I still have my hair. Okay, what happens when people lose their hair and they go bald is that their hairline incrementally moves up and up and up and up and up until they circle to the back side, and their hairline is now at the back of the head. Okay, so that kind of describes what a bald person is going through. So hairline, everyone has one, and some are a little bit higher, some are lower. So it's kind of up to you. I would say, here's a common mistake though, is that a lot of people draw their their hairline from the brow over here a little bit high. So a lot of times people create this kind of a hairline, which is honestly a little bit weird because it looks like someone's wearing a hat. All right, so instead, again, we'll come back to the eyeline. So the eyeline is the beginning of everything. Okay, eyeline is the beginning of your hairline. Hair. Oh, where is my hairbrush? Okay, anyways, it's the beginning of eyeline is the beginning of the hairline. It's also where the middle of your eye socket, two circles like this, is going to sit. All right. So the eye socket, there are some tricks to it too. So we gotta be a little bit careful about it. But once you master this, everything else is gonna get easier. All right. So the eye socket, we want them to be circles, typically speaking. We don't want them too large, so large that they touch each other like that. Whoa, that's kind of weird. Okay, we don't want it to be so small that they look like this, and then later on, because later on, what you're going to do is you're going to take a design, eye design that you like, and plop it into the eye socket. So if your eye socket's too small, you're going to have eyes that are way too small like this. Okay. So your eye socket has to be a certain size. What is the size? Now, I can't give you an exact math, but I can tell you this. You need to leave some room between the eyes and the cheek. Okay. And you also need some room between the eyes themselves. The eye sockets should not be touching each other in the middle, and they should have some space to the side. And they should, probably the most important, the eye sockets should not be floating above the eye line like this. Some people they do that. Some people they do too low like this. You know, it's a little bit weird. But when you move it like when you move it way up there, it's like really weird. Now you're designing a chimpanzee. Really, that's how you design a chimpanzee. Okay, so try to keep your eye socket. Basically at the middle, evenly split from the eye line like this. If your eye line cuts through your eye socket, it should cut the eye socket into two equal halves like that. Okay, so that's with the eye socket. So the next few things are, once we have the eye line, the eye socket, hairline, the eye line is also the beginning, the top side of your ear. So, our earlobes, we typically look like something like this, kind of like a broken heart. Oh no. Okay, all right. No broken heart, but a split heart. Ooh, like that. Okay, so that's how I would put in a placeholder for the ear. So I'm going to sketch something like this. It kind of hooks up and then downward like that. Usually it ends at around where the jawbone turns, but it's not exact like that. Okay, so there you have it. So the beginning of the ear, the top of the ear is where the eye line is, and that's basically it. So the last few things we're going to do is we're going to figure out the exact position for the nose and the mouth. There is an exact position. There is a math to it. And if we don't obey this math, we are going to be designing monkeys and chimpanzees and weird animals instead of humans. We try to stay designing, we try to stay with designing humans, as much as possible. Although you could feel free to explore other animal forms if you like. Okay, so a lot of people, we like to play with our nose, and sometimes we have like these really, cute nose designs. Like people like to have these meow, these cat noses and whatnot. It's totally cool. There's so many different designs you can use. The problem is when we don't know the position of where the nose is, your attempt at being kawaii could easily gone, astray. Okay, so what is the exact position for the nose? So there is a math involved. And the math goes like this. Between the eye line and the chin line, okay, midpoint, again, the word midpoint comes up a lot, okay, midpoint between the two. So you'll know a point is a midpoint between something if you could see that the top side and the bottom side basically looks the same or close enough, okay. So midpoint between those two, you draw a line, and that would be the nose line. That would be actually the bottom of your nose. So suppose if you have like a shadow for your nose, then the bottom of it would be sitting on the nose line. Nose. Okay. All right. So where do the mouths go? The mouth line sits just a little bit below the nose line, like this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and draw I guess a smiley face like that. Typically speaking, your mouth line. This is called the mouth line. The mouth line would be sitting at about closer to the nose than it is to the chin. Because what happens is if you have a mouth that is too low, even if you're just sitting at a halfway point, already your character start to look a little bit PO'd. Okay, like he's not having a good day. If you move him down even just a little further, woohoo, he is not having a good day at all. He looks very PO'd. We try to have our characters. I believe humans in some ways are naturally joyful. We're meant to be joyful. We're meant to be happy and to enjoy life. So I like my characters to kind of have this, kind of have this natural joy, to them. So I make my mouth a little bit closer to the nose. If you need an exact math, there is kind of an exact math, but you don't have to use it. The exact math would be if you take the nose line and the chin line, you break it up into thirds. So 3 equal parts. Okay. So the first 1/3 that's on the top, that would be a great place for your mouth line, like that. How wide should your mouth be? Usually the edge of your eye socket would be a pretty good guide. If you draw a mouth that is like yay big, then it's like you're designing some guy with like extremely huge mouth. So I wouldn't go that much further than your eye socket. Okay. So that's that. That's the position of your mouth line. Okay. So now, just to finish up a little bit, I'm going to add a neck. There are fun things about neck to talk about as well. So this is how you do it, and I'm going to show you how not to do it. Some people, they do this. When it comes to neck, they're just going to be like, oh yeah, neck. Ooh, yeah. Right. Okay. So that's, some people, they do that. Some people, they design necks. They like necks that are like a little bit thin, so they go like, yeah, I want my neck to look like this. Yeah. Some people, they like the Incredible Hulk, so they go like, oh yeah, I want my character to look like that. Yeah. Big neck. Yeah. That's probably a little bit too much. Okay, so stay away from those extremes, please. The way I do it is I sketch 2 straight lines, vertical lines pointing down, probably somewhere close to the middle of the eyes, something like that. Okay. I think if a neck is thicker than the middle of your eye socket, the middle of your eyes, I think it's a little bit too thick already. So usually a buff character or a dominant male-ish looking character, they would have thick necks like that. This is probably as thick as I want it to go. I think football players are just a little bit thicker, but not that much more, to be honest. Okay, so So that's about as thick as I wanted to go for a really really buff character. But usually speaking, I want it to be a little bit slender, closer to the within the middle of the eyes. I really think so. Okay, like that. So keep it straight. If you want, you could sketch in a shoulder. The shoulder is basically just two vertical, just diagonal lines going down like this. Probably, if you want to be exact, probably at around, 30 degrees, something like that. So, all right. So I would sketch these two lines down. If you do draw shoulders, again, just try to make sure everything is symmetrical, meaning I don't want one side to be like straight and then the other side to be like oink. That's a little bit strange. We want whatever you do, try to keep both sides similar if possible. Okay, so instead of something like this, something like that, or something like, like that. It's kind of stay away from that. Okay, so I have my shoulder, and a little trick that I like to use is after the shoulder and the neck, I add in a tiny little triangle, which represents the muscle that connects the neck and the body together. Trust me, when you do this, add this little triangle, everything will just look a little bit more realistic. Okay, so that's a recommendation I have. All right, so there you have it. That's basically it. That is a lot of work, to be honest, and if you're able to follow along and be able to replicate this at any reasonable level, then congratulations. Please applaud yourself for the hard work, for following along with this very information-packed phase of designing your manga character. In a sense, this is probably the hardest part of the drawing, the hardest part of the production process. I'm not going to say that everything else is going to be totally easy from here on, but I think the hardest part is over, because the hardest part is to actually get those proportions and structures, in a correctly, so that later on when you start plopping in the designs, the eyes, the nose, and the hair, you have a very good foundation for which to work on. Designing your character. So kudos to you if you made it this far. So that's pretty much it for phase one. We have 4 phases to this lesson. Phase one is basically over. Probably the toughest part, which is setting up the face mask. So coming on phase 2, we're going to be still using pencils, and we're going to dive into how to use how to have a library of your own of different kinds of designs for eyes and nose and ears and whatnot, and how to be able to start plugging those into your characters to make them look unique, to make them to give them the design that you want them to have. Okay, so that would be the upcoming lesson. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Really, again, kudos to you guys for making it this far. If you have any questions, please leave it in the classroom's comment section. I would be more than happy to respond to you, have back and forth dialogues with you. That's part of the perks of this class, is that even though we don't meet one-on-one or face-to-face, we're still able to connect and dialogue and giving feedback back and forth, and perhaps even pictures, or even a quick video demo just to show you, just to kind of walk you through if you have any areas which you were stuck. That's what I'm here for. I want to hear from you if you're stuck with anything. I want to hear questions. I want to hear in text. If you're neck deep in the woods, if you really need help, I want you to scream it out, in your text, and let me know that, Mr. Dan, I need help. I'm trying to do this, but I can't. If need be, I would even make like a last minute video to hopefully help you walk through your obstacles. Okay, so please definitely let me know if you run into any problems or questions. All right, I'd be more than happy to answer them and address them for you. Okay, so until the next class, this will be it. And thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing all of you guys in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.